We didn't even have no ice. We didn't have no tree. There was no such thing as a tree. Right? I remember going days and just having rice. I remember having sugar made from water and sugar. That was our syrup. Right? Because we were poor. We were very, very poor. So just think about this. A 32-year-old woman with 11 children to raise on her own. And I want you to just imagine that. Just get that in conceptually, right? So as a youngster, right, what became the option for me was being a youngster. And then what I learned over time, right, when I had my son, I didn't want my son to experience the same things I experienced as a child, as a youngster, right? So I wanted to be a real boss. You know what a real boss does? Is accepts accountability and responsibility for their behavior. So let me tell you what happened. This is how God changed my life. Let me tell you what happened. When I had to go to my brother-in-law's funeral after he was murdered from being on the street and selling dope, right? That wasn't enough for me. Then I had to go to my other brother-in-law's funeral. So my wife had 3 brothers. All those brothers were dead. One of them was murdered, and 2 of them killed themselves as a result of alcohol and drugs. Very painful, okay? Number 2, I was doing work in Oakland, and my job is that of a violence interrupter. And as a result of that work in Oakland, the first year on the job, I had 4 staff murdered. 4 staff, okay? Now, those times, right, for not being there for you, man, at your basketball game. I apologize to you for not being there at your soccer game. I apologize to you for what I did to your mother. You and her are treating her, man, like less than a woman, right? I apologize to you for selling dope to your cousin. I apologize to you, right, for calling your grandfather a racist. There's no grounds for that. I apologize to you for treating your mother and your father less than human, right? So that's what I'm accountable for. And the only way that I can get that out of my system and my heart is ask for your forgiveness. Will you forgive me? All right, now we get on with the conversation. Thank you for freeing me. Give yourself a hand. So that's one of the things that I'm encouraged today about providing that opportunity. One thing that I do want us to kind of come together, and we'll be breaking out here shortly. I want to acknowledge Reverend Harry Walden, who is here, who is doing great work with the Mothers for Police Accountability. That speaks a lot. We had close to 16 females that participated. Cena was also a part of that, Cena Evanger, police officer, that went up to the Tulip Festival over in, what place is that? Where's the Tulip? Mount.
Because peer pressure is maybe at school hanging out with friends, whatever, doing else, and they ain't in the classroom studying, right? But how true it is about education, sports. You know what the average professional football player, the average, you get, or even NBA, they don't last more than 3, 4, 5 years. And what are you going to do afterwards? There are some professional athletes, one of the Spinks brothers, he had a $4 million fight and then it's short. 3 years after, he was a bankrupt. And that has to do with education. So if you think about the future now, if you're already going to be 2, 3 steps ahead of all the other kids, you're going to give it a lot. And I know that peer pressure is driving you one way, but you got to really think about your future. Gentlemen are saying it's so true, I see it in my line of work. I do. They get distracted in prison.
Yeah, it is a lot. Black Christ I'm not interested in being successful. How it is defined for me to all the different cultural vehicles. So the question on the issue is what cultural vehicles do we have to give a different message? Because that's the real goal. We can't teach them different values when we don't have the institutions putting forth any of those values. The institutions we don't control. They're putting forth any of those that are young respect
before they hurt someone else. Got it the first time, and be full again the last time, you know, and just don't want to be responsible for it happening against somebody else and stuff. I'd like to see these guys out the street. 40 West Seattle, Fairfield, U13, Fox News.
Okay, this is one thing we want to just get back to the groups and talk about just what you made up the message.
right a lot of the wrongs that are happening in the community. This is the only way we can stop the violence and the murders and all of the gangs. It's really at an epic stage right now where things are really going crazy. And I see more and more things like this, programs like this springing up. Like in Chicago, for instance, they have such a bad gang problem. I mean, they had like maybe 100 murders in Chicago within the last, 2 weeks. And I got a call from one of my reverend friends over there. Oh, please come over and talk to the kids, man. We need to do some kind of forum and stuff like that. But we need to do stuff like that right here because there are many murders and violence that are happening here in Seattle within the last 6 months. It's been going crazy. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how do we begin to change what is happening out there to our youth. And I think we have to start by transforming our minds or renewing our minds. Because I truly believe that if you change the way you see yourself, then you'll change everything around you. You can change your community, you can change your society. If you change the way you see yourself, you'll change the way other people will look at you. So I looked in the Bible and I came up with this verse in Romans. I know you guys know that I am a practicing minister. But I was looking in the book of Romans in the Bible, and this is a very special verse in the Bible. Romans chapter 12, verse 1, it says, I beseech you, or I beg you, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies like a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God. And this is your reasonable service. And then verse 2 goes on to say, and be not conformed this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that really struck me because, Paul, who wrote this in the Bible, Paul was like, he wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. Now, Paul, he knew what was going on. See, back in those times, in biblical times, it was very, very a lot like nowadays. See, there was a king. Of course, he had a king. He was a ruler, and he was rich. He had all the money, and then he had a few hundred people who worked for him. The governors of the states all around in the community, and the politicians, and his security, his army, his soldiers. All these people who worked for him. And then you had your rich businessmen who were around. Again, they also were part of the kingdom and lived around in the great neighborhoods. But then you had hundreds of thousands of poor people. And he knew this, he saw this. And he was trying to change the living conditions. He was trying to change the way they were living during that time. Because you had millions and millions of poor people who were stuck in poverty, and it was just a bad, bad way of life. So not like nowadays, And so Paul knew this, and so he wanted to touch them. He knew that if he touched their minds, then he could possibly change the way that they were living. And this struck me because I knew that, this is sort of like the same thing that we're going through today is what they were going through way back 2,000 years ago. So Paul said, if you renew your mind, change the way you think, then you can change everything else that is around you. So how do we change? How do we do that, Paul? You do it by renewing your mind. Change the way you see yourself, and you can change your whole environment. You can change the way everybody else sees you. See, the reason why there are so many murders and so much violence in our communities is because people don't think nothing of you. No way. They don't care about you. Oh yeah, that sucker stole my car. I'm gonna kill him. Oh, that crazy fool talk crazy to my wife. I'm gonna kill him. But what if we change the way we saw each other? What if we change the way we value life in general? And all those things would. What if there was a community of people who just got back to the spiritual way of living? Like in the Bible it says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. What if we all believed in that thing? You can trust your neighbor. Go outside your house and leave your door open. Your neighbor's got your back. You can leave your car and your stereo in your car. You don't have to snatch it up and take it upstairs to the house. Because nobody's going to rob you. Your people is watching your back. Your community is watching your back. What if we all tried to live that way? Then we would change our environment. We would change our community. So Paul knew this, and he knew this. Now hip-hop is the #1 music in the whole world. The #1 industry in the whole world. The #1 music industry in the whole world. 10 years ago it used to be country and western. But now it's hip-hop. Everybody, the globe is all tuned in, listening to hip-hop and what rappers have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a world of hip-hop. We are living in a hip-hop generation. Everybody is tuned in, listening. So what if we just gave them something different? What if we just changed the way we saw ourselves to give them something different? Started promoting womanhood instead of, disrespecting our ladies, and started building up our community instead of trying to tear it down. What if we all did that? I think the world would be a better place and we would have no violence. If we all would just try to commit to changing the way we live, changing the way we see ourselves, changing the way other people will see you, then the violence will stop. But that's such a hard thing to do. You know, I'm listening to rap music today and I turn on the radio, man. Just the other day I'm here, I saw little kids, little 3 or 4-year-old kids run around just talking about, I should have cheated. Huh? 4 years old. I should have cheated on my man, you know, he did this, he did that. I should have cheated. Ladies and gentlemen, look, we need to start to differentiate in what is good hip-hop and what is bad hip-hop. And we have the power to let our children know, look, that's not right. That's not cool. We need to change this. It seems like all of music today, it seems like most of the music, and not just music, it's entertainment as well, is being stuffed in a big vat, a big pot of immorality. And we need to not be conformed to this way of life. We need to break away. We need to be individuals. And we need to fight against this, what they call environmental brainwashing. Because you have the power. If you change the way you see yourself, you'll change everything else around you. So I'm here to just to let you know that I support everything that you guys are doing, but, you know, this is a hard job. Because if you listen to the radio today, you'll hear it, and this is why we are brainwashed, because all the music that we listen to today, we need to do our research and start finding the music that is more suitable for our children to listen to. And that's going to be a hard job. It's a very, very hard job. But you can do it. I have faith that you can do it. I did it myself. Education is the key. Education is the key to success. It's the key to getting out of the ghetto. It's the key to renewing your mind. And this is, the last thing I want to say is that we all have dreams of being successful. Yes, we all want to drive a Mercedes-Benz and play at sold-out concerts and have a nice house and a home and a family. But the way you do it is through your education. And education is simply the acquisition, the acquiring of information. And you process this information and then you apply it to your everyday life. And that's a process. That is a very special process. You need to learn how to do that when you start to go, when you're in school, to apply what you have learned is so very important. But here's the key. Whatever you want to do in your life, if it's a doctor, lawyer, businessman, rapper, DJ, dancer, whatever it is, do your research on it. Find out about the history of it. Study the history of that subject. Whatever it is, study the history. And within that history, find 1 or 2 successful people that made it within that field of whatever it is. Study them, analyze them, do the research, find out all about them. And those steps that they took in order to achieve their success. If you repeat those same steps, whether it's education, where they went to school, who they studied under, how did they get their internship, and where did they first practice it. You do those same things and mimic, repeat those steps that they took in order to achieve success, and I guarantee you also will achieve success. I guarantee it. So education is the key. We all need to be more informed about our history, of our culture, the hip-hop culture, as well as African Americans or Americans. You need to know your history, where we come from, so you can know where you're going. That's so very, very, very important. And the last thing I want to say is God bless you all. Thank you for coming. Forums like this are going to save our nation. We need to be more vocal and outspoken and talk and speak and let everybody know what our problems are so we can try to start to find the solutions. And that's what I have to say. Thank you. God bless you.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is your boy, Kurtis Blow. And you know what? Whenever I'm in Seattle, I gotta check out the music in the city. It's going down. Word. In Seattle, you should too.
Ready? All right. What's going on, everybody? Tuned into another edition of Seattle Zone for the C-Town. You know, about here on Comcast Xfinity On Demand. We're also on radio. And as you know, we try to bring you up-and-coming artists. But we know we also had a whole bunch of legends on music in the city. And I'm more than 21 years on the air. We're just going to add to that list right now. You know what I mean? He tore it up last night at 88 Keys. And when we talk about a legend, not too many people you can really say is a legend in this game we call rap/hip-hop. But this man we got on the show right now, flat out, when I introduced him, I called him a flat-out, unadulterated legend, because that's what he is, all right? Rap music, hip-hop wouldn't be where it is today, all right, if it wasn't for my man we're going to introduce right now. None other than the legendary member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His name is Kurtis Blow. Welcome to Seattle, my brother.
All right, thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, man. Now, some of these questions, since you've been around for a minute, you might have been asked a few times, but so bear with me, my brother. So some of the younger members in the audience, okay? Man, just give them a little schooling, kind of briefly, how you got started in this game.
Well, that's such a hard thing to do, is to say it briefly, but I'll tell you, I was a DJ and a b-boy breakdancer back in New York in the early 70s, and found out about this thing called hip-hop as a DJ, and I just wanted to represent, for my community and get out there and just express myself and show my talent, and one thing led to another, where I started gigging around the New York City area, and ran into the famous DJs who were out during that time, like DJ Hollywood and Eddie Chiba, Lovebug Starsky and Kool Herc and Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 MCs, and the Funky 4 plus one more, and the Treacherous 3 and the Fearless 4 and the Crash Crew and the Cold Crush Brothers and the Fantastic 5. All these groups were doing their thing in the early 70s, 7, 8 years before the first record came out. But I ran into two guys from Billboard magazine who were doing a story on hip-hop, early hip-hop in 75, and they included me in the story. And from there, the same two guys came down and saw me gig with Grandmaster Flash. I was playing with him as his MC, and he was the DJ. And these two guys, from the writers from Billboard magazine, wanted to do a record. And they were thinking about using the other guy, Eddie Chiba, but my partner and college buddy, Russell Simmons, convinced them to use Kurtis Blow because I was in college, and I had an education, and I had more potential to hear Russell tell it. So they decided to use me, and their names were J.B. Moore and Robert Ford, and we got a record deal with my first song, Christmas Rap. And that was 1979 when I recorded Christmas Rap. We got signed to a major label. I was the first artist signed to a major label, and the first to tour the United States and Europe, and the first gold record, first certified gold record for hip hop, which was in 1980, The Breaks. And yeah, the rest is history.
There you go. Hey, it's legendary. Kurtis Blow. We're here at Garfield Teen Life Center here in Seattle. So now, those of you who know your history, you know that you didn't really think, some people thought, you may have thought it, that when hip hop started, it wouldn't be where it is today in 2012. So here it is, and rap, hip hop is still going strong. Back in the day when you started, did you think it would last this long?
Oh, I always knew that it would be around forever because, you know, a lot of people call me a visionary, but I just think that it was a culture, and what I saw in New York, how it spread around the New York City area, and how everybody embraced it, and it was such a hot commodity. I just knew that this thing was going to be around forever, and it was going to spread around the world. I definitely knew that because how it spread around New York City and how it became so like, wow, crucial and critical a part of our culture and society in New York during those early 70 years. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned my man Russell Simmons and so on like that. I mean, how influential do you think young people really don't know about the history of Russell and Def Jam and stuff, and just the New York City scene in general, but especially Russell. How influential do you think this brother really has been?
Oh man, if there was another person besides myself who I would say is really one of the pioneers and influential figures within the genesis of hip hop, it would be Russell, because I can sit back and remember those nights when we were in college and just debating about hip hop and how, you know, we had these different categories and different markets, and oh man, he definitely believed in it. You know, Russell's dad, God bless him, rest in peace. You saw him in that movie Crush Groove. But Russell's dad used to have this quote about us. He said, "Oh yeah, Russell, he eats, sleeps, and he drinks disco." You know,
yeah.
So I knew that he was going to go far. You know, we had dreams, we had aspirations, and they all came true. And we worked very, very hard, the both of us, trying to make it happen. And then when I got the record deal, I had to make him my manager, because I knew that, you know, not only was he my friend and my partner, but he had the insight and he had the energy and the know-how, the actual left side of the brain that was working, and very, very intelligent guy, so I had to make him my manager. Yeah, he was my buddy, and we've done a lot. We've traveled all around the world together in those early 80s, 1980, 81, 82, and he did a lot for me. He helped me a lot, gave me a lot of motivation, and kept me going when I didn't want to go on, and got me out there on stage when I didn't want to go on stage and I was tired, you know. So he was a very, very, very good motivator, and yeah, he continued on to be really, really successful. He's actually worth about $1 billion now. So yeah.
No doubt. So now we're here with Kurtis Blow's Music in the City, Garfield Teen Life Center, and you know, how you feel about rap music today? Moving up a little bit. I saw an interview with the legendary Nether, along with Kurtis Blow, LL Cool J. And I saw an interview with him where he kind of like put on blast a little bit today's rap artists, you know what I mean? So basically, how you feel about rap music, hip-hop music today?
Well, you know, being one of the elder spokesmen of hip-hop, I want to keep it positive, and I see, you know, I have mixed feelings, of course. You know, there is the negative side of hip-hop today, but I see the positive side. And there is a positive side, and I'll tell you what it is. It's the raps today are faster, wittier, They're more complicated. It's a challenge for an old schooler to even keep up with all the mad styles. We call it mad flavor, from the dirty South to the the Midwest with Kanye and Common over in Chicago and Nelly out of St. Louis, and you got the West Coast, traditional New York. It's incredible. It's most incredible. We're feeding families. It's a $6 billion a year industry. But the most incredible thing about hip hop today is, now back in the days when we all first started rapping, we all rapped in English. Now you travel outside of America, you go to Germany, they rap in German. You go to France, they rap in French. You go to Japan, they rap in Japanese, So it seems like the countries outside of America have embraced our culture. They have embraced hip hop, and they have made it their own culture. And cats are rapping in their native tongues, and they are the top pop artists of their countries. And that is amazing to me. That is such an amazing, the power that we have with the spoken word, the power that we have with hip hop is such an incredible. There's a rap group in Palestine. In 2001, I went out and did a whole tour of all the army bases around the world for right after 9/11, and so I was touring the Middle East, like I did like the Bob Hope thing, and did concerts at all the army bases. So I was in Pakistan, and I was sitting at the U.S. Embassy, and I was talking to one of the guards there, and he was telling me about a rap group in Palestine. And these guys, the songs that they make, they rap about the plight of their people, and the songs that they make are the #1 requested songs on the Israeli radio station. And that, to me, just signifies the power and the potential of hip-hop, what we could do. This is so amazing to me. Oppressed people are rapping about oppression, and the songs they make are #1 songs on the oppressor's radio station. That's crazy.
And you with the cat from named Sebastian, who's from that area, rapper. You know what I mean? So we got a few more questions, and we got to wrap up because I know you got a busy day. But one of my last questions is advice. But I want to also ask you before we go about your ministry and the Christian side that you're doing. Just let the audience know a little bit about why that happened to you, what turned your life around, where you want to become a minister.
Well, it's something to do. When you reach a plateau, you get successful and you reach the top. Then you sit up there and you're like, wow, is this all there is? So I'm searching for life and the meaning of life and what is going to, and I learned in philosophy that there's a thing called the telos, your telos. It's a Greek word that means your end or your purpose. Like the telos of an acorn is to become an oak tree. The telos of a caterpillar is to become a butterfly. Men and women, we don't know our telos. We don't know our purpose in life. We have to search for it. God gives us a free will. We can make choices to figure out what makes us happy, or what our purpose is in life. But most people want to be happy. We all want to just reach success and reach a plateau and be happy and successful. So for me, I did that. And it just made me more greedy. I mean, the more money I got, the more I wanted. The more women and sex and groupies that I got, the more I wanted. The more drugs I got, the more I wanted. I just got greedy, and it's like, is this all life has? I started trying to figure out what else I could do. So I started picking up the Bible. When I did that, that just changed my whole life. It was incredible. I'm an old soul, and I love the old stories of the Old Testament, Samson and King David and Solomon and Moses and on and on and on. And then I picked up, I read the New Testament about Jesus and how incredible he was, a healer and just an incredible preacher. And but when I got to Revelations, and I read that book, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like, I don't want to say hell scared, but just the imagery. And that book is such an incredible book in the Bible. I started going to church and fellowshipping, and then started doing Bible studies at my house, and then I got saved in 1992 in LA, Pastor Jack Hayford on the Church on the Way. Then I went to New York and moved back to New York for a little while, and picked up on this hip hop church thing, and it was a gift God gave me. And the hip hop church is basically it's a format for any church. Any church can have a hip hop church. It's just presenting Jesus in the Bible and the New Testament and salvation and all that good stuff. And we do it in a hip hop way, in the presentation of Jesus Christ through hip hop. And it was amazing. It's a great way to get the kids to come out to church just to see what it's about. You know, yeah, they may be trying to come to see what hip hop church is about, or they might come to see Kurtis Blow. Right. But when they leave the church, they leave with Jesus. You see what I'm saying? So that's our job, and I think it's incredible. It's a very, very successful ministry that any church around the country can have. And we're non-denominational, so, you know, like we're in Philly with the Baptists, we're in New York with the AME Zions, out with the Lutherans in LA, with Pentecost over in Chicago. And it's a wonderful, wonderful way to present God to people, you know. And I really think that if Jesus was around today, he probably would be a rapper. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was rapping back then. You can see him, right? Speaking in tongues. Eminem, you ain't got nothing on Jesus.
There you go. Yeah, that's knowledge right there, audience. Coming from a man like Kurtis Blow, that's knowledge. Plus, if I didn't get that question, then my homegirl, Twin Tammy J, a.k.a. Tammy Jackson Coyle, would have got beat up. So, you know, I'm glad I got that question in, you know what I mean? So the last question I asked everybody, more than 21 years of music in the city. I've been lucky enough to interview Oprah, James Brown, Stevie Wonder, all down the line. You know, is giving advice, especially from a legendary cat like yourself, Kurtis Blow. So what advice can you give to young people right about now?
Okay, education. I'm an avid supporter of education. I think that is the key to success and the key to getting out of the ghetto. And basically what it is the acquisition of information. And once you process that information, you apply it to your everyday life, and then you will be successful. No problem. And don't give away your day job. That's not funny, folks. That's for real. I've been saying that for about 30 years now. Don't give away your day job. You have to have something you fall back. We all have dreams, aspirations, want to be famous, want to do something good, want to, you know, have a house. You have to go after it. But your dreams are your dreams until they become reality. You have to have something you fall back on, like a job, a skill, something to pay your bills and survive while you chase your dream.
There it is. Man, that's knowledge, man. That is knowledge. Look, more than 21 years I've been doing this show, like I said. To me, this is one of my biggest interviews because I've been a fan of yours from the start. And before we go, we got this deal from the Tuskegee Airmen that I want to present to you, you know, from my man David from behind the camera. And let's go ahead and spread it out, let the audience know our music in the city. You know, my man David wants to give this to you, present this to you, because you know, the message is out about the Tuskegee Airmen, and that's kind of like a present from my man David to the legendary Kurtis Blow.
See, this is such an incredible poster right here. I'm gonna frame this and keep this in my house forever for my grandkids to see, and they're gonna know exactly who these guys were, because this is important. This is our history. These are the first cats to fly airplanes. Like, you saw Red Tails, so this is like a Red Tail story right here. The original, yeah, right here in Seattle. And it's such an incredible, look at this guy, Sam Bruce, born and raised in Seattle, one of the original Tuskegee Airmen who flew around and got shot down in the war. It was World War II, right?
I think so.
Yeah. but he was from Seattle. And this guy was the first bombardier. Man, dropping bombs, you know. Incredible, incredible. Saving this country, giving us a way of life. A real patriot. Black man. Incredible, most incredible. The Tuskegee Airmen. That's history, pure history, y'all.
We appreciate it, Chris. But no, I gotta go watch basketball. Oh yeah, David. David, you're not a sports fan, but Gordon Curvey and definitely Kurtis Blow. You know, we had that monster hit basketball. You know, so I gotta go watch the NBA playoffs a little bit later because I know you're a tremendous fan of basketball, right?
That's right. I think Miami and Boston is playing, man. Those are like my two favorite teams. You know, I love Boston because they like old school, man. Shout out to Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and of course Paul Pierce, man. But you know, ain't nobody beating up LeBron and Dwayne Wade. They gonna take it this year. You heard.
You know, we got about 13 or 14 basketball players, you know, from Seattle. I don't know why that is, but we got, you know, I want to give a shout out to the goodie bag, you know what I mean? Because them cats, I mean, what do you got to say about the goodie bag?
Oh man, goodie bag is off the chain, man. I mean, you know, Seattle, man, this is the premier, the best, the top of the line for music here in I mean the band itself, the Goodie Bag Band is incredible. The best band in Seattle, man, by far. But just to, you know, fellowship and hang out with the crew and the people who brought me here. Goodie Bag brought me here, and you know, people like Al Bell and
Rico
and L Train, man. Just a nice group of people, man, doing real stuff here in Seattle. So, you know, they're holding it down, man. So my props out to them. And big shout out going out to Jamal Crawford and Nate Robinson and B. Roy. Can't forget you, boy. And a big shout out to Sean Kemp, Rain Man, man. Yo, you my dude, Rain Man. You the man. Word up.
That's my dude, Sean Kemp. Yeah. He's put money behind my show when I didn't even ask him. Okay. He's a real true brother, Sean Kemp, man. Shout out to Sean and his wife, Melvina. You know what I'm saying? Yes. For real.
I met
so
yesterday at the basketball tournament over at the Cleveland High School. Yeah. She was over there, and we tried to get Sean Kemp on the phone. And yeah. But yeah, good people, real good people. Yeah.
And we'll give a shout out to my homegirl, Twin Tammy J. You see her T-shirt there. People you must pay, pimp style.
That's right.
You know, and so she's doing her thing. You know, we've taken trips to California and all kind of stuff, and she's a real true female right there, Twin Tammy J, you know what I'm saying?
Big shout out to Tammy J, Pimp Style Clothing, man. Yo, people, you must pray. Me and Tammy Ray, we go way back. Word, we go back like 8 tracks.
There you go. All right, we're going to wrap it up. My man, Kurtis Blow, the legend. Appreciate the knowledge, man.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me. All Peace.
Right. Hey, man, that was all off the hook, man. Thanks, man, Kurtis. I appreciate, man.